The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
I'm an idiot. I had us on mute the whole time, so that's... Well, thank God we're not live. This would have been really bad. But anyway, we still started the show with laughter, even though it had nothing to do with what we're going to talk about here on Soccer to the Max. I just found out we were on mute for the last 45 seconds. But it's all right. We're still here. We're going to talk about some things. It may, we're going to have obvious jubilation, considering we're coming off about 30 minutes ago. The U.S. Women's National Team just won a thriller 4-3 over Brazil. Woo! Even though they lost the tournament as a whole because they lost to Australia in the previous match, and Australia beat Japan 4-2 today. So, yeah. And who knows? Maybe we'll get some vitriol from Rachael about something.
More than likely.
And Erik will be upset about DC United losing 4-0 to Minnesota.
You know what? After these happy moments and with the kind of day and weekend I had, I can't even be mad. That's just like, yeah, okay, Loons. Hey there. We got to do something against the Capitol, eh?
Well, FC Dallas didn't fare much better. They lost 4-0 to Vancouver. So we're all down and all that. So we are going to talk about Women's National Team game here as the Tournament of Nations Game 2, Round 2, Match Day 2, whatever the hell we're going to call it today, happened. And then there's also MLS that happened. NWSL did not happen, of course, because they were on break, which I completely forgot about until I just said that. And then...
I was having a bad day.
Yeah. That was something going like, wait, why did I ask Rachael to talk about NWSL? There wasn't any. So, sorry, we're just a little bit loopy because we found out that somebody apparently had no idea what TRL was. And they lived in the era of TRL. So...
Yeah, the person is younger than me, okay?
Yes.
And is older than I am, and I know TRL.
Wow. So, yes. Anyway, not to talk about TRL deciding to come back after however long it's been since it's been on.
That's a point of viewer reference right there, I feel.
Oh, it will be. It will be. I had a good 10-minute slot, but now I can cut that down to 5 minutes.
Thank God Carson Daly won't be on. We can rid ourselves of that. Anyway.
Do not speak things into the universe, Sean. I've learned that the hard way.
Well, we will speak here about this. It's been a while since we actually had an intro where we didn't go right into the games or whatever, so it's nice to do that sometimes. Anyway, let's actually talk about this game here. As your friend Jill, Rachael, she brought out a starting 11 that was much more veteran focused after the experimental side that played on Australia and the extreme amounts of chaos that went on the internet about that team that she fielded that led to the loss to Australia. So she went with the more notable folks for the most part, but she still made some weird decisions.
Jill. That was for you, Erik.
Huzzah! See, Dawn, you're not the only one. Take it away, Rachael.
Let's play a game. What would you never play Becky Sauerbrunn as? A defender. B, a midfielder. Well, Jill Ellis really failed that test. She put Becky, who has been named to countless lists and accolades and everything imaginable for being a top defender, specifically a top center back. So what does our friend Jill decide to do? Put her in the midfield. It was the defensive midfield, but it was still the midfield. Jill, are you smoking crack or something? What in God's name have you done to that defense? Kelly O'Hara had a horrible night. She got totally beat on, I think it was Brazil's second goal that Bruna got.
To be fair, there was nobody at the post either.
Well, that's true, and that's also on Alyssa Nair for not lining her up. And God,
hold on, talking about bad nights, you can't have a worse night than Alyssa Nair bobbling the ball to go in the net.
That wasn't a bobble. That was a I got it, no I don't got it. That's worse.
And Alyssa got lucky, too, for that other one that she bobbled, and they called it as a no goal, but it should have been a goal for Brazil.
To be fair, you shouldn't use your arm for anything. Even if she doesn't have control, she still pushed her arm out to knock the ball out of her hands. But I think they were calling it more of a foul that wasn't there. I have no idea where they called a foul.
Me neither, because, hey, we are, a couple days away from having VAR? And yes, I actually did sit down and watch that whole seminar. Boy.
We'll have to talk about that later.
Mm-hmm.
I would say Kelly O'Hara at least had offensive bright spots in this game, obviously.
I agree. Just she's not a defender. Simply put, she's not a defender. Why she's starting over Ali Krieger is just beyond comprehension. I will say, though, that the bright spot on defense tonight was definitely Taylor Smith. The fact that she and her second cap basically shut down Marta the whole night. She maybe had one or two bad giveaways, but she basically shut Marta down the whole night, and that's not easy to do.
I thought Casey Short looked good, too.
Casey Short looked good.
And the thing was with Becky Cyberman, too, she's not. I think a lot of people think that, I can play center back, I can play center mid. Yes, you are still passing that, you're still being that central passer, but even if you're trying to play a destroyer role, that doesn't really work with Brazil because they have so much speed going on. She got caught so many times just flat-footed, somebody just ran right by me, and now I have nothing to... Whereas if you're a defender, you can see that coming, and I think she's used to that. If she's in central midfield, they blow by her. That's it.
And especially the fact that you couldn't even blame on, even as a defender, I can play high, like they played in their first game. They flat out couldn't, and acknowledged that they couldn't against Brazil. That's what made this mistake even worse. You're trying to have to sit back deeper and deeper, playing sour run out of positions. Now you have a lot of open space along that wing for Brazil. Look at how they capitalized.
Yeah, I think a lot of credit obviously needs to be given to the subs that Jill Ellis made, bringing Julie Ertz in and finally rectifying her mistake from earlier and putting Becky Cyberman back where she's used to being. And she had a lot going on there in the midfield, putting the passes into either the wing players or making some herself. And obviously Megan Rapinoe was wonderful on this evening, scoring one of the goals too.
Christian Press too, man, she had a night.
That first goal was awesome.
Insane.
Yeah. Just to have the wherewithal and the gall to just be like, all right, I'm just going to take this. What do I got to lose at this point? And Barbara had looked so good, and then all these goals start coming in and get beat near post twice. Still not as bad as Alyssa Nair, but,
Well, that's a point Alyssa Nair you're doing that to yourself. With Barbara, those last 15, 20 minutes, it's, oh, hey, the U.S. has woken up. Oh, hey, their wide play is working. Uh-oh, this is a problem.
Yeah, and Jill Ellis still won't even bench Nair on, when do they play next? Wednesday?
Thursday.
Yeah, she won't bench her, I guarantee you. She should, but she won't.
She should, because that game doesn't mean anything. But,
yeah, and I don't know why she doesn't trust Abby Smith and Jane Campbell.
I just feel like at that point, put them in so at least one of them has a point of coming. It tests one of them out.
True, but again, and we had this similar argument with Bruce in the Gold Cup. If you have one and you're sticking with one, odds are you're going to stick with one even though you shouldn't.
Yeah, but he still played Bill Hamid in one of the games.
Exactly. Bruce, that's what gives Bruce a little bit of advantage. I don't trust Jill to make this choice.
At that point, that's still different because you're still trying to win that game, and you play Bill Hamid. You're playing for pride, basically, against Japan. That game doesn't mean anything, I guess, other than, being second instead of third or something in a tournament that doesn't even have...
Well, if Australia would lose, and I think if the U.S. would score, they would have to score, an obscene amount of goals. They could have, the slimmest chance to beat Australia, but I don't see Australia, especially with Sam Kerr and her hat trick and just being Sam Kerr, I don't see them losing to Brazil.
Because correct me if I'm wrong, Australia's goal differential is now a +3, and the U.S. is at 0?
I don't have the sheet in front of me, so I can't really...
I'm just doing some quick math in my head based upon the two games.
Okay, so the U.S. lost 1-0.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they won 4-3, so there's a 0. Australia won 1-0, and then won 4-2, so they're sitting at a +3. Oh. Yeah,
but it'd be hard. The way Brazil plays, I can't imagine Australia doesn't score at least one goal.
And Sam Kerr will probably have another hat trick, too, so... Yeah,
it's not like Brazil's trying to shut you down. They are completely attacking, and honestly, I didn't feel like they played much defense at all, quite frankly, but...
They didn't. Way too high and then completely out of shape. That was very good for us, but...
Yeah, they were relying a lot on Barbara and then also on players like running back, and eventually when you get tired, that's what happened for me. That last 10-15 minutes, your defenders are tired at that point. They can't do all. You've been having them run for about 70 minutes. They're not going to be able to keep up with that pace when the U.S. are trying to score, and they know they have to score this many times to get the draw and win. Yeah, that's the pitfalls of playing that super high line that they were doing. Anybody else that you guys feel like should be mentioned here?
I think Sydney Leroux deserves more time, for sure. She was she made her first appearance since I think it was June 20th, 2015, but it wasn't enough time for her to do anything.
I have a feeling that she'll go back to the whole mix and match side for the third game, but we'll see what... I would hope that anybody that sort of watches this casually will sort of understand that this last game against Japan, even though it's Japan and yes, you want to win, this tournament is also to sort of look at who is going to be in your team, because she said it herself that this Tournament of Nations is sort of the last look that she gets before she finally starts deciding, okay, this is my core squad. Then the other fringe, 6 or 7 players are going to be based on form or whatever, but my 18 is pretty much, this is the last time I'm really going to get to see, barring injury, who's going to be in it.
For, like, the World Cup, you mean?
Or, I mean, I guess just kind of going forward. That's what the announcers were saying anyway, that this was sort of the last test for her to sort of start building who's she going to focus on for, World Cup qualifying and all that kind of stuff.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully she figures out that she needs to start calling in other goalkeepers. I mean, because clearly Alyssa Nair isn't the answer.
Tinker, 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 tinker.
How much does the sun factor into that? Because there's a lot of times where she's visibly fighting it with her hand. I mean, since when was it a bad thing for people to wear caps?
I mean, it factors in, but when, you have the ball in your hand, you can't blame the sunlight when you drop it.
Yeah. That first goal is going to be on blooper reels for a long time coming for her. And there was 2 or 3 other occasions. The goal that called back, and then another one where she almost dropped it too at the end. And you're going, man, Butterfingers much? I mean,
that goes beyond hand of Claude. That term is now redefined thanks to her handiwork, so to speak.
Ha ha ha. Classic.
That's one of those that's so bad it's good.
You're welcome, America. And Internet, for that matter.
Yeah, I hope we get to see... I don't know when the next set of friendlies are, but I hope we get to see more of the... Because some of the ones that she did bring got to stand out a bit. I just felt like maybe she got too pressured into playing a lot of the... Don't get me wrong, you want to win, right? And that's... You get a lot of great feelings from having this 4-3 comeback win. I don't know. I feel like taking that Bruce approach to this wouldn't have been bad either. Of just, let's really see who you got. Let's put out all of the sort of younger players, and then you can bring the older players off the bench. Or, I know you said it the other way, Erik, but it kind of just depends on. Obviously, this is a tournament, but I still just don't feel like this is some. When you get to make 6 subs in a tournament.
Yeah,
it's hard for me to take it seriously.
This is a tournament of friendlies, and it's being advertised more as friendlies, and I completely get that. But to make a top 11 reference, one of the best apps on the planet, you want to get results and have people in good morale. You want at least light green, especially dark green, rather than yellow. Did I mention I might have had a small addiction to that app?
It's okay. There's a whole football manager game that exists for that reason.
Yeah, that's what it's called, Top 11.
No, I'm saying like one where you pay like $60 on the PlayStation 4 that you can play.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah,
no.
That thing's been around for like 15 years now. So, yeah. And, it's fantasy football before fantasy football existed. So,
fair point.
Sean, for reference, their next batch of friendlies will be against New Zealand in the middle of September.
Male women?
Male women.
I can't do the chant because of that extra syllable. You know what? When did you say it was? I need to work on that.
It is September 15th and 19th. One's in Commerce City, Colorado. The other one's... Ooh, it's in Cincinnati.
Okay. I've got time. I can make it perfect for you. Leave it to me.
Oh, so it's like a dual... Like the Russia one where they play New Zealand twice?
Yeah.
Oh, boy.
And then they play Canada in November. One's in Vancouver, and then the other one is to be decided. The other one will be in the States.
Oh, good old home and home.
Yeah, well, I mean, at least you know you're going to see a different squad. Probably much more experimental when you get to New Zealand, I think. When, you really don't need top flight people to... See, that's the thing. That's where I think it's hard for them not to call in everybody because you get the break every time. It's not like MLS where they're still playing games.
Dawn.
So, But, I mean, see, that's different, though. Like, when you're playing friendlies, I know you want to win and you want to see everybody or whatever, but I don't mind when they call in the B or C teams for the friendlies. If it's a World Cup qualifier, then, yeah.
That's where our friend Jill needs to bring in the players like the Shea Grooms, the Angela Salems, the Haley Kottmeyers. Like, that's where the underrated and unsung heroes of the NWSL, so to say, Gina Lewandowski over in Bayern Munich. I mean, bring her over. I think somebody that's been deserving of a call is McCall Zerboni from North Carolina. That's where you should bring those players in. But then again, Jill doesn't like doing that.
How do you think Mallory Pugh played? I know she had that one chance she missed.
I think the announcers were a bit rough on her for that one. I think it's hard to get that because it hits... I mean, it was a really good ball from Megan Rapinoe, but it just hit her foot awkward. And with it coming in that fast at that angle, I don't think there was much she could have done. I think... even though she was in for a while, I think it's like Sydney Leroux. Like, you didn't get to see much of her. She didn't really get too many touches.
Yeah, it's hard to evaluate when you're not getting a lot of time on the ball to do anything, especially when you're a forward. And yeah, that's the thing. I think Pugh was making runs. She was making some good runs. She, like you said, that one, it's coming off her leg awkwardly. Like, at that point, you can't even make a movement to try to steer that anywhere. That's a bit harsh, but she's been scoring for Washington, so...
Yeah, and not to mention, even at that moment, aside from how it landed, there was a little bit of chaos going on in the box, so it's not like you said, you don't have time to move or try to settle it and then take a good shot, so...
Do you think, I mean, they did make that decision in the first game, but do you feel like Kristen Pest needs to start over Alex Morgan at this point?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another reason why you should do that too is she's just performing better at club level too. Like, granted, Alex Morgan just came back from injury, but I think she has 4 games now for Orlando, and I think she has 1 goal off a penalty. Christian Press has been a goal-scoring machine for Chicago the whole year. I mean, and tonight she just proved, you put her up there with Mallory Pugh, Carly Lloyd, she's gonna make it work. And I mean, depending on how serious Crystal Dunn's injury is, Pugh and Dunn are a really good tag team together.
I'd agree with that. Yeah, it was unfortunate for Crystal Dunn. It looks like her leg was busted up and bleeding, so hopefully it's not too serious for her.
I didn't
back
see...
to her club, they're not going to appreciate that too much.
I didn't see or hear any references to Joe Theismann when I saw that, so that's a big plus.
It wasn't that crazy.
That's why I'm saying that could be like that. So this, while it looked ugly, it could be exponentially uglier.
Anything else that you feel like we should take away from this game? Obviously, they got the win, but...
If Jill Ellis ever puts Becky Sauerbrunn in a midfield, I swear to God, I'll get an instant ticket to California or wherever the hell they're playing, and there's going to be a lot of backhand smacking.
I've got rewards points and gloves. I'll come with.
There you go. Erik has the solution. We didn't make
And
this
Eric's over 25, and he can rent the car too, so that's all that matters.
There you go. There you go, Erik. See, you've solved the problem. So,
yeah, rent a car, fly there, consume legal substances. Everything will be glorious.
Muy bueno.
Muy bueno. So, we have to bid Rachael adieu here, as she has to get somewhere to go on a date with her close personal friend. So, we'll hopefully you'll be around for the whole show next week.
Hopefully, and everyone, please keep a nice eye peeled out for Mexico. They just started a women's league, and it is going to be fire. And
how many teams did they say?
I want to say 6 or 8. I honestly can't remember. I just kind of caught some highlights this weekend. I think Chivas has a team.
Oh, that's not surprising at all.
I know Santos does. Santos does. I mean, there's a lot of... I think maybe 6 or 8, but I will get back to you on next week's show.
Yeah, because I'm curious about the format of that, because if it's that small, I have an idea.
Let me do some more research, and we will talk, my friends.
Wicked.
All right. So, there you go. Well, enjoy your night, Rachael.
You guys, too.
Well, we had to say goodbye to Rachael, but we had fun talking U.S. Women's National Team with her, and hopefully she will be on next week. She probably won't be able to be on because of her big girl job on Thursday when we talk about the last Tournament of Nations game, but you know, them's the breaks sometimes. We do have plenty to talk about.
Hey, she gotta get that paper.
Exactly, gotta get that money, gotta get that paper, gotta get paid. Anyway, that was terrible. Anyway, so we do have MLS to discuss here, and we'll go through, quite a few of these games as we can. We got a big debut as well to talk about. And some transfer things, because that's happening. It's a silly season, not as crazy as the other silly season that's going on. And we have a statement from Curt Onalfo about his firing that we get to get into. And also some VAR talk, because this was the last weekend without VAR. Beginning next weekend, the games after the All-Star game, they will have VAR. Video assistant referee, and so both of us have watched this presentation that the MLS had with Howard Webb that was about an hour and 5 minutes long, and we're going to talk about how we feel about how MLS is implementing it. But I wanted to touch on one thing that Rachael was talking about as she left about the Liga MX Femenil. They actually started playing a couple of days ago. The league was made about, I want to say 8 months ago, and it has 16 teams in it, basically all partners of the big teams from Liga MX, and it's basically played the same way as Liga MX, except for you have 16 teams divided into 2 blocks of 8, and then they play each other home and away, and then you get the top 2 teams from both groups then play semifinals, and then they play a final, and then you get the winner of the Apertura from there.
And yes, the final is, like the men's, a 2-legged aggregate. Have these leagues learned nothing?
One game. It's a final.
You can either do neutral site or the team with the best record hosts. I'm fine with either of those, but it's got to be a one-off match. It's not that hard.
I just don't get it. I don't get why we
Me
have to have these two-legged finals.
Me neither.
But yeah, so I just wanted to make the point that Rachael wasn't really saying that they just got started. She meant that they got started playing. The league has been around for a little bit. So anyway, let's get on to this side, the United States side of things, and Major League Soccer, since NWSL, as I noted, is on break. Thankfully, I have an Ember, or I would have been sitting there having us go into NWSL and then looking like an idiot even worse. So before we talk about the games here, we did talk about in the midweek, and you should go check that out, as we also talked about that first Tournament of Nations game and everything else. The Siggy Schmidt hiring, which that game against Seattle, oh boy. A lot of the same problems from the Galaxy.
Yeah. That one was just... And I get the mentality. They were going over, crunching the numbers. They mentioned, I believe it was Ziggy Schmidt, a certified accountant, and saying, okay, here's what we need to do. But they didn't come close to getting there.
Yeah. There was really not a lot going forward.
Much for anybody.
Much for anybody in that game, honestly. Since the LA Galaxy had Van Dam sent off in the 86th minute for 2 yellow cards. The Galaxy were resorting basically to fouling Sounders players, just so that they could keep them from breakaways and everything. And I get those professional fouls, and you have a lot of guys that do that. I mean, you have Van Dam, you have Jermaine Jones. That dude can't go a game without getting a yellow card, basically. Jesse Sardes was I thought he looked more confident after coming back from the national team, but just that touch wasn't there, as is the case with him a lot of times. And for the most part, they kind of stifled Seattle, but Seattle also just had chances missed. So Siggy Schmidt talked about how they're starting to basically get to know each other, and he discussed that he thinks the ball movement needs to be faster, which I would agree. And yeah, that they need to possess the ball, and pretty much your typical soccer stuff. I mean, I don't know that I needed Siggy Schmidt to tell me that, but hey. Yeah,
your typical soccer things, and it ended up a typical 0-0 match, which, okay, it's your first, but you weren't hired and brought on amongst all of this.
I think he was just trying to make sure they didn't lose.
Yeah, no, and I understand that. That's why I'm not being hard on him. So, again, a 0-0, kind of what I expected for his first match. But now you know what you have. You've got, I say, a couple match window to potentially fix it. Then you start keep rolling to whatever you're going to do.
So, Siggy Schmidt did replace Curt Onalfo, who it's not that long ago that he was fired as Galaxy manager. He left a statement out or on Twitter, and here's what he had to say. The first half of 2017 was filled with tremendous activity. 7 key LA Galaxy starters suffered significant injuries. Sebastian Lletget, Jermaine Jones, Ari Rogers, Baggio Husidic, Jesse Sardes, Brian Rowe, and Daniel Stetis. With all missed a minimum of 10 games, you had Jesse Sardes, who also went to the Gold Cup. You had Giovanni Dos Santos go to the Confed Cup, which, that's a big deal. Mm-hmm. And he says, look, I never made excuses. Hold on.
Never made them, but it's... You never made them, but it kind of sounds like you're poking that bear with the spoon right now.
I thought I had the support of management, and he feels like he was put under tremendous and sometimes very unfair scrutiny. Despite all these setbacks, I still managed to achieve the best road record in MLS and position the team to be just a few points out of playoff contention. I had planned to use the second half of the season with a finally healthier roster and a new DP to push for the playoffs and make a run toward a championship at the end. Needless to say, I'm very disappointed to have not been given that opportunity. While I'm adamantly opposed to the organization's decision, I wish nothing but the best for the LA Galaxy club that I love and have bled for as a player in 1996 and as a coach and developer of talent from January 2011 until when he was let go. The true character of people is revealed in times of adversity. That saying is as old as time, pretty much, but it holds true at this point. How do you feel about this, considering that obviously this is something you expect somebody to say, right? You're not going to go and be like, well, yeah, I was just going to tank that second half of the season, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're not going to say that, right? You're going to say, hey, I had a transfer window that you could have allowed me to do something with. The other Dos Santos was coming in. I had a whole second half. It's not like we were down at the bottom of the league and losing all the time. He was right. They were only a few points out of playoff contention. Do you feel like they might have pulled the trigger too quickly here? Or were they right to...
Instinctually, if this were an average team, I would say yes, they did pull the trigger too quickly. Now, with a whole couple points out of a playoff spot, look at how tight that section of the West is. All the teams hovering around the red line. Yeah, you're a couple points out, but margin for error is slim. That's number one. Number two, best road record, most road wins. But the Galaxy, what was Home Depot and now StubHub Center, for years was regarded as a fortress.
They have one win and 6 draws, and 4 draws at home right now.
Yeah, 6 losses if I remember right.
Yeah, 6 losses.
Yeah. Goal difference is terrible. That's
-6.
Yeah, that's not what people know of the Galaxy. That's not what people expect of the Galaxy. And again, if this were an average team, I would say, yeah, give it a little bit of a time. You flesh things out. But the Galaxy are not an average team. They proved that they're not an average team. They proved that they don't want to be an average team.
Yeah, especially not when you're telling Zlatan Ibrahimovic that the door is open, man. Come here.
Yeah, if you're gonna lure guys like that there, you need to have a better foundation. So I get where their heads are at, but they're really one of maybe 3 teams in the league that could pull this off. So I kind of have to give them a pass because of the reputation and history, but I can't give that pass to everybody.
I do want to make a point that there are 1, 2, 3, 4... 5 squads with 4 wins right now away from home. Mm-hmm. So it's not like he's got that much of a better record than some of these teams away from home either. You know,
right.
He does have the best road record, but it's not like it's by a lot.
No. And again, the most road wins just by 1. Now, if all these other teams were lumped at 2 and 3, and you're at 5, okay, that's a significant thing. But you're right. You're putting yourself not too much above everybody else in your way, and your home record is putting me at average. I'm sorry, but no. And imagine that, okay, you don't leave Ziggy Smith enough time to try to turn this around, and the Galaxy end up missing the playoffs. Imagine how that's going to look.
Yeah. I just, that's not going to look, and that's the thing though, right? Like you said, the Galaxy are not just some whatever club here. We're talking about the LA Galaxy, the team that probably most people associate with when you mention MLS. You're talking about the LA Galaxy, especially after, Dave Beckham was here and everything else. So, if you're sitting here trying to court big teams to come to try to avoid them going to LAFC, like, you have to put a good product out on the field. Yeah, Chicago kind of showed that maybe you don't, and you could still bring in a Boston Schweinsteiger, but they were making strides this season. Now,
asterisk, ha!
Now, obviously, nice. Glad you found a way to fit that in. But, I think also what needs to be mentioned is that, okay, if Zlatan does wait until the summer, then yeah, you have till next year to make things better, and that gives Ziggy Smith a whole off season to figure out what he's going to do with the rest of the players and whatever else. But again, MLS has a salary cap. This is not like, hey, I have all the money in the world and all the resources in the world to just, we're going to sign whoever we want, and that's going to build the team back up. You can't do this like you did in Europe. You're going to have to figure out and deal with some of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Or deal with some of these players, sorry.
And, not just players, but some of the teams as well. Parity is here. Parity is going to stay.
Right.
Look at how the West has been just even the past 3-4 years. Look at all of the teams that have stars on top of their shields when you see them wear their kits. Yes, you brag that you're the first to 5, but you're playing against teams that have 1s and 2s of their own.
Yep, that's very true. But now this is just one game. Ziggy Smith has the rest of the season now to see what he's got and who he wants to keep and who he doesn't, and what do you do about that afterwards. So let's move on to the rest of the MLS slate here. And there was a lot of close games. A lot of up and down.
One or two close, if you ask me.
Let's start with, I think, the one a lot of people are going to be wondering about, which is the DC United Atlanta rematch. Kaka with one hell of a goal.
You mean Orlando City?
Orlando, sorry. Did I say Atlanta or Orlando, right? Did I say Atlanta?
No, you said DC United in Atlanta.
I'm sorry, I'm thinking about DC on the brain.
Don't. It's
so
not worth it.
Orlando, Dom Dwyer debuting right next to Kyle Larin, so both guys playing, even though you didn't get to see a whole lot from Kyle Larin outside of that first movement there within the first couple minutes, and then he kind of disappeared for a while, and then he came back. How did you kind of see that partnership working out? I mean, it's hard. It's day one, right? It's game one.
And that's why I get the idea. Maybe with better timing this can work, but I think once they late in the match went to the more one-striker formation, Dwyer felt a bit more comfortable.
Right, because both those guys play in that format.
Right, and I want to see more. To me, this was very, very inconclusive. Very inconclusive. I was actually more angry of the defense than anything. Spectre, you're my boy. What were you doing in some bits of that out there?
He did make a good recovery run, but it meant
he did.
But it also was due to Villalba making a pass sort of right in front of him, which allowed that to happen.
Yeah. Oh, don't even get me started on Villalba. Just when I think everything was great, just when I thought we were going to return the favor, just when I thought we were going to stick it into their face and I could make fun of all kinds of pecans and peaches until the cows came home, Villalba broke my heart again. Just why? Why?
Well, because the Orlando defense has a problem.
And again, Spectre, guys, my boys, but still, you don't do that. Bad things happen. Come on now.
And maybe you need to start subbing Kaka off.
Yeah.
Earlier, because he was just kind of
gassed.
He was gassed by the time you get to the end of that game. He can't play 90 minutes anymore. You know? Obviously he showed he's still great, right?
Yeah.
At attacking.
I mean, I get he's great. He's still got that leg, fantastic in attack, but at what now, 35? I don't mind seeing that for 70 minutes instead of the full 90.
Yeah, even 60.
Yeah, I'll make do with the best of him at 60, and then you bring on another tactical sub, and again, put someone right at the top of the diamond, and it can still work. But, God, we've been miserable. It's just, for all the hot start and the home cooking, it's come up to nothing.
Yeah, completely and agree with you in that. It's not just that. It's, I think, you're trying to try something out, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't have that like forward pairing like that anymore, where you have two real forwards just up there, both trying to get the ball and both trying to score and all that. You don't really do that anymore. You have one guy that's a forward and one guy that's sort of okay with, I might pass it in to the guy that's more of the true goal scorer or whatever. So you play not necessarily a false nine, but a sort of in behind guy.
I was just about to say that false nine.
It's okay to play a false nine sometimes.
No. 2010 has ruined the false nine for me. Thank you very much.
That was 2010. Come on, this is how they play now. You play with. It's all right though. It's all right. I just think that again that defense just. If you're gonna go into the shell for the last 5 minutes, you cannot let Villalba score like that. Just
no, you can't. Oh, so disappointing. And I was also ready to make fun of Brad Guzan too, but that went away. Orlando, come on! You're ruining way too many things for me right now. I had a lineup, I had a bit, I had hand things, which granted aren't ideal for a podcast, but still.
That's great. I'm glad that you were so ready to deliver that.
Yes, and now I'm going to say this as a last take. Sean, you know how I am about the epic hair.
Okay.
The epic hair takes precedence in a lot of things. I was mid-conditioner running into the other room and seeing that Kaka goal. Mid-conditioner, Orlando. Come on now.
Mid-conditioner?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Uh-oh.
So sitting there with shower water ready, had the shampoo and all this and that and rinsed that out. And I hear the goal as I just start applying the conditioner. I have to hold my hair at a certain angle and run in and watch the greatness and this and that. And you... I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed.
I'm sorry that I disappointed you. But, hey, it's going to happen.
It's not you. It's the team. You are but the bearer of analysis and bad news. You are not at fault.
Yeah. Oh, I should mention, get ready. Get ready. Because not only did Vancouver go and wipe out FC Dallas, who they're pretty much due for one of these like every season of getting whooped like this. But they also, Vancouver Whitecaps, went and signed number 1 New Zealand keeper. Come on.
No, I'm waiting for you to say the name.
Stefan Marinovic.
Mailman!
He will join the club through 2018 with options to extend his stay even further. Well, all right, Stefan Marinovic.
At least you came 1 week late and you didn't have to carry the mail in 95-degree heat where it felt like 110. Wise timing on your part.
And that comes, I mean, Freddie Montero looked terrific in this game. It was Vancouver pretty much the whole way. It's pretty embarrassing for Dallas to lose like that at home, but again, this happens. And
I was kind of shocked, but yeah, that was one of those 4-0s. It was like, really? Really?
Yeah, I mean, after you're sitting there thinking about going top and holding that place down, you lose like that, and it's like, dude, talk about just shaking your head. Just there's nothing left to say but shaking your head. And I hate it. I hate it for those reasons. But then you get word that Kellen Acosta, and I'm fine with it. He's 22, going to be 23 when the World Cup is going on. After the World Cup, you want to go, and if you have a good tournament, go sign for another squad in Europe. Dude, please go. Get better. You know? Look, MLS is great, but there's so much you're going to learn playing in Europe. You know? I can't be mad about it. Just don't go to Turkey and be like Fabian Castillo where nobody even knows what the hell's going on with you. Go somewhere people can actually pay attention to what you're doing.
Well, now I have to have an asterisk. For Turkey, are we talking Turkey Galatasaray, to which I know at least what their kits look like, or Turkey where it's like not Galatasaray?
He plays for Trabzonspor.
Okay. That answers my question.
Trabzonspor is one of the bigger teams.
Yeah, but are they Galatasaray?
No.
I rest my case.
But, hey.
It's like Scotland. You're either Celtic or you're not. Turkey is the same deal, except worse.
Fair enough. Whatever, floats the vote for you on that. Hold on. I'm trying to figure out where they. What is it? Did they? No, nothing there. This is great audio. Right now. I am trying to
about to
figure
say,
out
if
who
you're
the
doing
heck
some kind of
won. I'm trying to find out who the heck won the Turkish League last year. Besiktas won the
Really?
league last year, yeah.
Huh.
Well,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, in the current table, Trabzonspor is in the relegation. It could be. They had Oh, this is an alphabetical order. Never mind. They haven't even started in the Turkish League. Let me go back to see what they were doing last season.
See, this just proves my point. Besiktas, I can't really talk smack about because I've heard of them, but I'm resting. This rests my case.
Trabzonspor finished 12th.
See? You see? And you were getting ready to get on me about something.
No, yeah, you're right. I think what it was, Fabian Cassier just wanted money. And Dallas wasn't going to give it to him. And, hey, good riddance to that point. If that's what you're after, then... And you'd rather go play in the Turkish League and play for Trabzonspor, then go for it, man. Whatever works for you.
Yeah, exactly. Be in your own little slice of oblivion.
At least
Turkish women, I mean...
That's a whole other conversation. At least Jovan Jones had the wherewithal to go sign with SV Darmstadt 98 of Bundesliga 2. He, of course, will start for them in the January transfer window. He will remain with the Sounders until then. He signed a pre-contract with them, which he can do because he was not under contract to the Sounders past 2017. So, and he's now signed to Darmstadt until June 2020.
Boy, there's a fantastic joke I could make about the concept of a pre-contract, but I ain't gonna.
Does that have to do with a prenup?
No, something else.
Okay. Probably not a joke for this fight. You know what? Go ahead and tell the joke.
No.
It's one of those bad... Okay. It's a bad joke.
It's only midnight. If this were like an hour later, then maybe. But
damn it. See, we started this too early. You could tell the joke then. No, but all right. I mean, this is a big blow to Seattle. I mean, they're going to have him for the rest of the season, obviously, but Jovan Jones has been tremendous for them at fullback. He has been the best fullback in MLS for me. And probably why you're having German clubs come after him, obviously, but man, just when the Sounders thought they had a guy they could rely on, here you go.
I mean, bad timing, but at least the one positive is they do have him until for the remainder of the season. They do. But not necessarily, and it is a blow because he's not one of those anchors that you can build forward with, but again, sometimes these things happen. If you're on an upswing, you get the right call, you're going to answer.
Yeah, that's all you can ask. Because look, you're always trying to find, if you're a good player and you care about your future, you're always trying to find the best thing for yourself. And I think Jovan Jones, he kind of had to sign that contract at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can't really fault him for doing that, honestly. I know that there's going to be Sounders fans that are upset and everything, but that's kind of how it is.
As there should be.
Speaking of being upset, I don't know how you can be any more upset if you're a DC United fan.
No.
How do you lose 4-0 to Minnesota United?
Sean, one of those goals was an own goal.
That's even worse.
Yeah. At this point, I can't expect anything.
I mean,
more
Matt
from
Beasley
DC.
also scored an own goal, but
Like I said, I can't expect anything more from DC United at this point. They're done. They're probably going to tank. They may only gather, let's see, they've played, 22 games?
Yeah.
Okay, so they've got 12 left. They may be lucky and gather 10 points. It's whatever. Let them tank. Let them go off to their brand new shiny stadium and stink that to high heaven. It's all gravy. Whoop-de-doo. Huzzah.
I want to make this point that they are now have negative 24 goal differential, which is 8 goals worse than anyone else in the league.
Go for the record. Make it minus 30. Make it minus 40. Hey!
You don't want to
Woo!
have them. You don't want them to make any kind of comeback. You just want
No,
just lose at this.
No. I tried. I've given them damn near 2/3 of the season. I'm done. White flag. Zippity doo-dah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Looks like they're going to burn RFK.
I mean, do you? At some point, like, doesn't this fall on Ben Olsen? Like, don't you have to start wondering if he needs to be out of there?
He should be, but he won't, because they're going to want continuity because of brand new shiny Audi whatever. So he's going to stick around. They're going to do just as bad in front of fewer people in a different part of DC.
How do you know it's going to be fewer people?
Well, first of all, okay, how many people show up to the United games now? And RFK is huge. Even if you get
But it's RFK. Who wants to go to RFK?
Okay, and who do you think will want to go to Audi Field and to see that?
It's new.
Style?
People want to go just because it's a new stadium.
Okay, just because it's a new stadium, that wears off.
Well, what if they get a new stadium bump like Orlando?
Oh, but come on. And look at how long that lasted for Orlando. 6 wins out of 7, and that's turned into what? 2 or 3 of the last 14? Home cooking apparently only goes but so far.
To be fair,
And
they were without Kyle Larin for like a lot of those games.
Okay, and alright, they at least have the talent. Who can you rely on if you're DC United? I mean, seriously, make an argument to me right now why I cannot compare this to a gigantic pile of burning car tires.
No, right now they are a gigantic pile of burning car tires. They're just awful.
And do you think they would be able to bring anybody in to even come close to turning this around?
I have no idea. Who's going to want to come to DC right now with the team playing like that?
I rest my case.
I mean, look at the difference here with Philadelphia beats Columbus 3-0, and then Philadelphia go and lose 3-0 to New England, but then Columbus go and have a heck of a game against RSL.
Yes.
And draw. DC doesn't do that.
No.
They just lose a lot.
No. Exactly. Because, I mean, what's their record right now?
Their record right now, DC, they are last in the Eastern Conference. They have a total of 5 wins, 14 losses, and 3 draws.
Okay, so they're on pace to win a grand total of 8 matches this season.
Woo!
And I bet you they go into Audi Field next year and win 7.
Oh, come on now. They're going to win at least like 9 or something.
Oh, you want to make a little wager on this?
No, I don't have
I've already lost one steak dinner bet.
I don't have
I'm
money
prepared.
for a steak dinner right now.
Look, it wouldn't even be steak dinner, just some night-out cookies or something.
With that win, Minnesota actually leapfrogged Colorado for 10th place.
You see, DC United, now they're out of the basement, and I can't keep making... Oh, my God. Why? Yes, United, you're done. You're done. Don't even try to win anymore. Just...
However...
Pack it in. Say, you know what? Here's an idea. They have a U23 team. Why don't you have them play the rest of the MLS season? Get your USL side. Trot them out there. See what they can do.
Okay, so you're right about that, but hey, at least they've won away from home, unlike New England, who did win at home against, Philadelphia? Philadelphia just, when the people shut down CJ Sapong, they have no answer for how to go about that.
It's CJ Sapong and 10 other players, and granted, it didn't help that Andre Blake wasn't there, which you can say it's maybe 1 or 2-0 instead of 3-0.
Maybe, if he comes back on the same form, but
yeah,
New England at home, they've been ridiculous. They've won 7 games. They've only lost 2. The goal differential there is insane. They played really well against the Philadelphia team, and they knew exactly how to shut them down. You shut down CJ Palm because they have no creative outlet. They have no number 10, no playmaker, no nothing. Something that I don't understand how Columbus couldn't figure out. Oh, that's because Columbus doesn't play defense.
Nope.
So Philadelphia was able to get one on them. And Columbus continued to show this in their game against RSL, where RSL probably had more chances than they did. They just couldn't put them in. João Plata had one go clear across the face of goal, and he couldn't get it in.
I saw that one, and I was like, how do you miss?
I don't know how he missed. And Savarino, as well, had a couple. He eventually got the second goal, which was fantastic. But still, and Kamara, give props to him. He keeps scoring for Columbus. That dude has been playing lights out for Columbus this year. They don't have a way to defend at all. So if they get to the playoffs, if you can figure out how to stop them offensively, you got this in the bag, folks.
Especially thanks to those 2-legged aggregates.
Yeah, and then, for all that we want to say about Orlando, they're only 2 points out of the playoffs right now.
No, and granted, they would have leapfrogged had they won the Alba. Seriously, I'm trying to make you not put the explicit tag on this episode, but by God, it's tough. It's tough.
Talk about getting blown out. You're on national TV at 2 o'clock on a Sunday, New York City FC. Go to Toronto and get blasted like that. Woo! 4-0. And Sebastian Giovinco just bossed it all.
They're so lucky that he let Josie take that penalty. Otherwise, he would have had a hat trick.
Yep.
Come on. NYCFC. Pirlo, why are you still playing? Why don't you just retire? What use
or
are
don't
you
play in games where they actually need you to be defending, because you're not going to do that.
No. Just go home. Go back to Italy, do whatever, eat your awesome food, drink your whatever, have your espressos, go on, live about your life, because NYCFC, they don't need you if you're going to do this. Yeah,
and then Maxi Morales then missing the PK. That was just... That wasn't even close. He just clangs it off the crossbar. You're like, what the hell? Wow, this is just
You wouldn't even get a point in Ireland for that kind of kick.
It was it showed off their day pretty much. It summed them up for the day. Just missing and not having a lot going forward. Toronto just owned every part of that game pretty much, and just at home, Toronto has been ridiculous as well. They are one of the now 1, 2, 3, and 4 teams that are undefeated still at home. That being, and they are 8 and they have 8 wins and 3 draws at home, tied with Houston. Chicago actually has 9 wins and a draw at home.
Now, that's some home cooking. And I will say with BMO, that home cooking's rubbed off to the other team that's playing right now up there. Another team, another reason why
the Argonauts?
Yes. Oh, yes. They who also broke my heart by beating Ottawa, but it was a very bad weekend for me.
Sporting KC breaking Chicago hearts.
Yeah, no, that wasn't breaking hearts. That was like they're ripping it out of your chest, throwing it against the wall, and having that guitar riff as it sinks into the trash can, a la the episode of The Simpsons. That was just wrong.
Well, you know who's going to rip Chicago's heart even more, and they showed it in this game. Number one of the goals that Chicago has is off a Matt Beasler own goal that he got pretty early. Sporting KC scores 3. Chicago's second goal didn't come until about the late 70 minutes when David Accam finally comes on, and they were missing him for most of that game because they did not have the speed to get through Sporting, and you need it when you're playing that ridiculous Sporting defense. That line is tremendous, and they showed it off again. And Benny Philhaber, he showed you how to do the. He was looking for it, and he found La Chilena to get that goal, sir. So hats off. You ride that bicycle, man.
Wow. They're like, yeah, Dom, we're good without you. Bye.
Yeah, go ahead. We're good. See, people didn't have much to worry about. And I thought Rubio looked pretty good. Latif Blessing, that's why he got in the way for one of the goals. But, yeah, I mean, I think the young core is starting to work itself out. Look, they're not going to score 3 goals every game.
No.
This kind of happened here, but
but
that defense carries them.
Yeah, and look at how rarely they give up 2.
Yeah, it's rare, and one of them, they really didn't give up. Their own players
Exactly! They scored on themselves!
Yeah, technically they only gave up 1 goal.
Exactly!
So, no, they found a great way to control Chicago. They gave McCarty and Jr. a lot of respect or whatever, but Schweinsteiger, that's kind of his performance in this game, But credit to that KC defense and Tim Melia also made one hell of a save as well.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Melia doing Melia things, and I also kind of want to touch on this, going slightly off topic.
Okay.
What were the announcers thinking about when they were mentioning getting soccer in downtown Chicago? I get it, but the only way that would happen is if the Fire moved really back to Soldier Field. They're not going to do that. They're not.
Nope, unless the Bears made a new stadium or something.
Which they're not.
Nope.
And I mean, and again, what do you expect them to do? Play at the whatever it's called. I know at one point it was U.S. Cellular Field. And Wrigley, God forbid.
Oh, Comiskey?
Anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I forgot that it was back to Comiskey. But they're not playing there. And God forbid, Wrigley's not going to do anything other than
baseball. Yeah, let's not. No, please don't.
Tried, and it failed.
It was awful. Please don't.
No. So, sorry. Didn't even mention, I don't know if that was lawless or whatever. Sorry, but no. This is what it is. And
yeah, I know Bridgeview's a little out of the way, but they're doing great right now.
Exactly.
Speaking of some more home cooking, Houston continues to be undefeated undefeated, playing Portland, but Diego Valeri had himself a game in this one. 2 goals, looked spectacular, putting in passes. Darlington Nagbe kind of he was controlled a bit in this one.
I mean,
but the Hondurans shined finally.
Yeah, they were getting some measure of revenge, and I mean, give Nagbe credit. He was in the Gold Cup final, so he's not going to be 100.
No, I agree with you. I was just letting people know. And Houston, the Hondurans may not have shown up very well in the Gold Cup, but they played well in this game. Cabeza scoring his first goal off that header that hits the ground. Kyoto was playing well, Manotas as well. So Houston continues to roll on at home. Props to them.
Major ups, making Texas soccer that much more interesting.
Yeah, watch out, San Antonio. Keep making it happen there, Houston. And finally, San Jose, thanks to a big goal, get through Colorado, who's been, their dismal selves. And like I mentioned, Colorado now bottom of the table in the West.
Bottom of the table, disgracing the yellow jerseys again. And another game where it was a goal by not Wondolowski, which always helps San Jose.
And Colorado is also the worst team in the league on the road.
Yeah, about
8
that.
losses.
How do you not even get draws?
They have 1 draw.
1. Yeah, 1 and 8
losses, 1 draw, no wins.
Oh, okay, I rest my case. How do you not get draws, plural, at the very least, if you're not going to win?
Minnesota at least has 2.
Oh, jeez.
You're like, don't bring up damn Minnesota, right? New England also does not have any wins away, but they have 3 draws.
Oh, okay. Again, what I expect from New England, because New England. You have any idea how many people flock to Patriots camp right now? They've already tuned out.
That's because Robert Kraft is over there, talking up something. So.
Exactly. He's over there instead of with the Revolution, like I've been saying.
Yeah, so far, here's what things look like as they go into the mini All-Star break and the midweek, and then play the first games that will have VAR, and we'll get into VAR in a second. Toronto FC... Go ahead.
Mini All-Star break? No.
Midweek All-Star break. Midweek.
No! Just no. This Don? No. Don't you dare go...
They had a Gold Cup break for 2 weeks. Come on now.
But you can't at least, maybe...
And next summer they're going to have like a month break or whatever because of the World Cup, so...
Yes, because he's Fontana smart.
Thank God, because they used to play during the World Cup and you're like, who the hell is going to come out and watch you right now?
Exactly, but you can't at least... And I bet it's a full slate. You had pretty much a full slate Saturday. You got the homegrown match against the U20 Chivas Tuesday. Yeah. Then you're going to get whooped by Real Madrid Wednesday, even without Ronaldo, because he's got his promotions and his tax shelters and his court appearance to deal with. And then you're going to have another full slate Sunday. Don, do you see the problem with this, Don? Really?
Don doesn't care. Don just cares about the fact that on... Why am I looking at the wrong... on Saturday, August 5th, they're going to have all these games, and they're going to contain VAR. But like I said, Toronto in first by 5 points at 43 points. They are undefeated at home. Chicago Fire also undefeated at home on 38 points, so they're 5 off. They have a game in hand. New York City FC a point behind. New York Red Bulls 2 points behind at 35. Atlanta 34. And the Columbus Crew SC would be going to the playoffs right now if it ended today, but it does not. And that's with 2 games ahead of everybody else in that league. And the Montreal Impact have 3 games in hand right now on everybody, and they're sitting in 10th place. So I guess if they win some of these, they could do well. Orlando's in 7th, New England and Philadelphia are tied with 26 points. And DC's sitting at the bottom with 18.
Yeah. Don't even try to crack 20. Just stay right there the rest of the season.
They don't get anything great other than a first draft pick, so they can. Great.
Still be terrible. This is what I'm saying.
What, you got to tank for who?
I'm not saying tank. I'm just saying don't try. That's a big difference.
Why?
Tanking is you're trying to be
Hold
terrible.
on. What are they going to gain by not trying?
Still lack of humiliation? I mean, what have they gained by trying so far? It ain't working for them. 18 points.
I'm sure Ben Olsen wants to make sure that there's no way that they fire him.
Really? Ben,
all right.
Just quit. Just quit. Save yourself the trouble.
So Sporting KC, 36 points. They're undefeated at home. Dallas, 2 points behind them in second. Houston right behind them at 33. Portland, Seattle, 31. And Vancouver, 30. They'd all be going to the playoffs right now if it ended today. San Jose at 29. They are right there on the edge. Real Salt Lake, 25. Galaxy at 23. Minnesota, 22. And Colorado at the bottom with 20. So, hey, Colorado's made it to 20.
Exactly. Colorado, just don't wear the yellow jerseys the rest of the season. If I could come up with a ban to where you cannot wear that kit, that would be fine by me.
All right, let's talk about VAR. VAR, Video Assistant Referee. It is starting on Saturday, August 5th. There was a situation in the Portland game that I did not talk about, where Fernando Adi was wrongfully taking a goal away. They wrongfully took one of his goals away. And if you had VAR, they would have gone back and seen that it was a goal, rightfully. And Portland would have been 3-1 up, and maybe things are different at that point. So you already had a situation where people were claiming, man, what if VAR was around? They had this hour and 5-minute deal with Howard Webb and the media, some members of the media and everything else. What did you think?
I take back everything I said about the length of that seminar. Sean, I saw the light. I thought everything was well explained. I know what to look for in key emphasis. I especially like how they stress that they're going back in situations with the attacking phase of play. I don't hate this. I am on board with this.
I like how they're also going to actually have a way to explain this to the people in the stadium.
Yes.
Which the Confederations Cup did not. And I'm sitting there going, wow, if you're in Russia right now at the stadium, you're like, what the hell are they doing?
Okay, but you probably had a couple of swigs of vodka every few minutes, so you would be saying that anyways.
Yeah, now you get the TV sign, and I love that you can get a booking for making the TV sign.
Well, just like you can get a booking for trying to show up a fake card or sarcastically clapping at the referee, I'm fine with that.
I love that you also get thrown out of the game if you try to go to the TV where the referee is. That's also good. I really hope that as time goes on, you do get a lot of what you saw in the Confederations Cup, where referee puts his hand to the headset or to the earpiece, they make the call, it moves on. I don't want to see going to the TV all the time.
Yeah, but the difference is I would like to see the referee actually do something about it, not try to sabotage the whole system.
Yeah,
And
I don't think that you're going to
referees
see
are
that in
smart enough.
MLS, though. Remember, because Bundesliga and there's another league that's doing it to start
Yeah,
the
and that's
season.
why
Serie A,
I
I
say
think.
Yeah, and that's why I say these leagues and these refs are smart enough not to do that. Whereas with the Confederations Cup, it's like, okay, you have this great system. Why are you not using it effectively?
Well, but Giovanni Infantino already said, or Gianni Infantino pretty much said it's here to stay. So they're gonna have to figure out how to make this work.
And again, I'm not knocking the system itself. I'm just saying I'm counting on MLS referees to do a better job with it.
But see, that's the thing. I could see MLS referees really trying to rely on it because they're already bad as it is.
Yeah, and that's why I say they're going to be better with it than the Confederations Cup referees were.
Yeah, because some of those referees, especially when you get to the World Cup, you get the senior referees, and they're not going to want to get shown up by the computer. So
exactly, those you get the referees that wear the white badges.
Mm-hmm. That's going to be interesting how they do this. I'm excited in next week to see how well this goes, how long, if this drags out these games at all, and how many of these situations are going to come up per game and everything else. So I like how they're doing the stuff with the red cards, the mistaken identity, all that, to make sure. And I'm glad they can go back at any time for these red cards and make sure, hey, if somebody needs to get a red card, then. And I'm also glad that they told you about the you can go back and give a yellow card if you need to as well. Whereas in the Confed Cup, it was like, if you don't give a straight red, you're not supposed to look at it. I was like, come on.
Exactly. They emphasize, and I like this, the final decision stays with the referee.
Right.
And they're going to say, hey, maybe this wasn't a red, but you can go ahead and give a yellow. We're cool with that. And the referee decides, you're right, then okay, we're going to downgrade this to a yellow and be on about me merry way. But you're absolutely right. It's like reds or nothing. It's like, what are you doing?
Well, yeah, you got to make that decision or know that, hey, this needs to get figured out now. But it's something to be on the horizon. Are you going to watch the All-Star game?
You know what? And this is probably going to be a point of viewer story where this is going to go in more in depth. This is going to be the first All-Star game I'm going to focus on since 2013.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, and Barcelona won the ICC. What do you know? With Neymar.
With Neymar and without Ronaldo, because taxes.
Well, Real Madrid did not have Ronaldo.
Because taxes.
And the Confederations Cup.
Yeah, and the promotional tour in China, but Neymar also went to China, and he doesn't have to deal with taxes.
He's being named in the in that tax evasion thing. He just hasn't.
Oh, he had a separate tax evasion issue. Remember, the Brazilian government took one of its jets, so he's not unfamiliar with it, but he's also not due in Spanish court on Monday.
Right. I wonder how much longer I'm going to have to hear about this saga with him and PSG. I feel like I've been hearing about it for 2 weeks now.
Well, unfortunately, with the moves that Barca pulled, you're going to have to keep hearing about it. This ain't going away.
But all right, before we get into stuff that's not what we were just talking about, if you liked what you heard here, our analysis of Tournament of Nations, which U.S. had their final game against Japan on Thursday. We'll be back then. If you like what you heard, hit that subscribe button, whether it's on YouTube, WTONet.com, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, wherever we are, Google Play. You can check us out there. Subscribe, write a comment, review. Let us know what you think, what you like, what you don't like that we talk about. If you didn't like the fact that we were a little bit more laughy and comedic on this show than normal. We try to be serious, but hey, sometimes you got to hit that lighter side, and that was okay too. But all right, until we're back on Thursday with some All-Star Game thoughts, Tournament of Nations, the final one, and thank God then we're done with tournaments for a while, because
Woo!
I'm getting overboard on the tournaments at this point.
Well, the summer of soccer will finally be over.
Yep. Well, see you later, everybody.
Peace.
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.